3, 2, 1, go!
Bingo! That's right, Felons Ain't Failures Podcast. We are back in the building. I got a camera right there as well. And we are here on this beautiful Saturday in St. Petersburg, Florida. And we want to thank y'all for tuning in, man. We got a very, very special, and I got homemade jewelry. Coach Smurf on the side of me. This your boy, Coach Chuck, the podcast pastor. And we got two beautiful guests in the building. These women are powerful. They are amazing. They have extended their gifts and their purpose into the community. But I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk to them. We're going to let them tell you what they got going on, what they're here to do, and the demeanor that they're taking of our community. Let's go. Who we got first?
My name is Jaclyn Kelly, and I'm with Heal, Evolve, Resilient. I am actually the Community Outreach Director.
Okay.
I am Michelle Walker. I am the founder, CEO for Heal, Evolve, Resilient, which is her. I am super excited to be here on this Saturday morning with you guys. So let's talk.
Shout out to the ladies. We're going to give them a warm applause for stepping in on our platform this morning. All right, now as we begin, we got to get right into it, because yesterday when I talked to Miss Jackie, I had to make some changes, and y'all said the name of it is Heal, Evolve, Resilient. Where did that come from? And just kind of talk about it. Give us some background, what it is, and what brought that about.
It was a painful birthing, to be honest with you. About 3 years ago, unfortunately, during the COVID time, I got a divorce. And so during a divorce, some people have the party dress, and my right-hand man, she's on my left right now, but she's my right-hand man. And she wanted to be there to support me. What she thought was going to be a celebration, I immediately slipped into depression.
Okay.
A lot of people have different stories, what leads them on to your I do. And we also have different stories to why. And so I began therapy through my depression. In my therapy, I learned that I love to help people. I found my purpose, I found my why, and I found my goal through my own birth. And so I went into a birthing canal in my therapy. And I say that for mothers or women who have birth children, you carried a baby for 9 months. And so during that process of my healing, it was a 9-month journey for me. And after the fact, I was speaking to the Lord and say, what can I do to be able to help others who have experienced what I've gone through? So I asked for a name for an organization, and he said, Her. I became her. Everything I saw around me, like I'm looking at the different slogans and names, I was her. And so outside of her, we have the singer Her. I wanted to be unique with that because that name is so common. The Lord gave me Healed, Evolve, and Resilient, and that's who I was. I was healed through my process. I evolved through the trauma, and I became resilient. And not only that, that's who I am today. And I'm a mother of 3 beautiful, beautiful kids. But I was also a young mother who traumatized those kids. And so the first thing that I did, I had to go back on the battlefield and get my daughter, because she was traumatized based on that unhealed mother at a very young age. And so with that, we birthed Mommy and Me. That was the first event that we hosted. And I would love for Jackie to tell her story, because that was one of the community, she was able to find her BY and also her healing journey as well.
Come on, Miss Jackie.
Well,
but for somebody who really ain't got nothing, we coming back to you, because all that you just unloaded and dumped out on this table. Come on, Miss Jackie, let's go with it.
Well, I'm a mother of 3 boys, right? Okay. And when I went to the event, I was told I couldn't come because it was just mommy and daughter. So I'm like, I'm going.
Oh yeah, Jackie.
So I'm just going to go ahead and
I'm talking about you just losing everything.
I'm gonna be the helpmate, right? So I went to make sure everything was in place. Mm-hmm. And when I was there, I was in the background. Okay. However, you don't have a book on parenting. So you never know, right? And it was some of the things that I was hearing that I had to go back and, I remember as a little girl, I would just roll my eyes when my mom was telling me something, or I had to apologize to my mom. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry for like rolling my eyes at you and just smacking, whatever, because you just never know.
Yeah.
And I went through a domestic violence situation, and it was healing for me because I would never talk about it. I worked in corporate America, and I was embarrassed. I didn't know how because I'd never been through a situation like that before. And just going to her event, standing in the background, I was healed.
All right.
I was able to speak about it because I never would. And I was able to, my boys never knew that it happened, but I was able to talk to them, and we are in a good place. Not that we weren't in a good place, but I always tell everyone that you have to go to any of her events because it pulls everything out of you.
I can imagine. She got all that anointing dripping over her over there.
Yes.
But definitely. But you mentioned it. If we could talk about it, you said you've been through a domestic violence relationship.
Yes.
As a man, and I try to understand so I can empathize with not just guests but just people. What were some of the emotions? Because I believe, and I could be wrong, I know when it's time to overcome something and come out of something, you first have to be able to identify within yourself, what are you feeling? So if you're going to have some emotional adjustment that has to be made, because anytime, and I believe when you go through something that's traumatic, you mentioned that word earlier, and I'm coming back to you, but when you go through something that's traumatic, there has to be an emotional readjustment, because emotionally you go through some things. So trauma is just not, it doesn't just affect us mentally, emotionally. It causes us to, sometimes we say like, don't let the person you're in a relationship now have to pay for what the last person did.
Absolutely.
And when people do that, it's because before getting into that next relationship, they haven't emotionally readjusted themselves to be healed, to be free, to be released, to even be able to be in a relationship. So what were, I want to get into not too deep, but some of the emotions some of the things you went through are a result of that traumatic DV, and what did you have to adjust? Was it like, some people say, like even sexually, I have talked to people and they said that after going through a domestic violence and stuff like that, sexually, they're not the same, that they block out when it comes to sex, because they was in a relationship having sex with somebody who was abusive and they didn't want to do it, but because of the fear or whatever the reason may be. So I went there. So just
That's good.
What were some of the
Very
emotions and things that you experienced as was a result of the DV, and what did you have to adjust? How did you adjust it? Now we know part of it, your breakthrough came through Mommy and Me, Sister Anointed right here. But just on a personal level, just some of the emotions that you think, who did you become, and then who did you have to become again? I want to say.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say I wore a mask.
Okay.
So, being that I did work in corporate America and I had my older boys, I never could, and I was single mom also in a relationship, still single. However, I had to wear a mask because I never could let someone see me broken. So my time would be in the shower, but I end up getting closer to God because she didn't even know. My jaw was broken, so I had to endure
mouth wired,
shut. So it was more so I had to endure just why, because I had never been through that before ever, and you don't know how to approach situations, because women, we may sit around and say, oh, if this happened, I'll do this. But you never know until you're in that situation.
Yeah. People
tell you, why didn't you leave? I didn't leave my situation because I felt that I knew what their upbringing was. And women sometimes are nurturers in situations. And I didn't want them to feel like they were left behind.
Your boys?
The guy.
No, okay.
The guy. But this never happened in front of my boys.
Okay.
It never happened in front of them. So they never seen that part, but I still lied about the incident of what happened.
I was going to ask, how did you hide?
So I lied. I said I was
they soldiers too.
I
lied. I said I was in an accident.
Okay.
and nobody knew, but I lied. And
so you were forced to hide. Now we go to the book, because I think about when God asked Adam, "Where are you?"
Yes.
And I heard people say it a long time ago. Stop. It's impossible for God to heal what you're trying to hide. So what made you take the mask off? And if that was it, talk about it. Tell me the title, tell me the topic, tell me the word, or whatever it was. What made you say, you know what? That's it.
So I'm a believer that I never bring different things. So in prior relationships, you always got to work on you, right? So not to say that it was anything bad in that relationship, but I don't want to move forward unless I worked on me.
Okay.
Right? So that's first.
Yes.
The other thing is that we had an event, and it was the Mommy and Me for Orlando. And we were just sitting down having casual conversation, and it just we were talking like this, and I just...
God put you in the right place at the
right.
right time.
I never talked, even my brothers.
Never told
So I asked God for an environment which was a safe house.
Is she talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
she wanna go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel comfortable. I'm in front of family right now. I have my popcorn.
We covered and protected in here.
So I asked God for a safe house. What I needed at one point in time, and what I feel that other ladies or people need all together. It was to the point that I can tell you, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful resort. A lot of times people don't get the time to just pamper themselves, take care of themselves, and just love yourself. I'm a big self person, so I know how to love me. I know what I like. I know what I want. I know what I desire, because I love me. And it's not an arrogant statement. It's not being self-centered, but there was a time that I did not know. And so once you learn who you are, before you put that responsibility on someone else, you got to know what you like first. Because if I'm depending on you to show up in a way that I have not communicated, it's unfair to you. It's unfair to anyone, whether it's a relationship, it's a friendship, a partnership, any type of relationship. It's unfair for me to put the responsibility on anyone with lack of communication. So I'm going to show up for me first.
Okay.
And so the way I show up for me, I'm teaching you how to show up for me if you're looking, if you're studying. So I wanted an environment where I can be able to show women how to show up for them. And so at this time, going through my process, the little girl, I put a muzzle on her. That little girl was molested. That little girl was raped. That little girl was experiencing some things in life. But I built her to be thick. I built her to be independent. I built her to be strong. I also built her to be emotionless. So when I went through the D word, and we were in the height of COVID, we had to wear a natural mask. And she was already masked. So she screamed out, "I can't breathe." That's what I heard in the spirit. Don't do this today. I can't breathe. And so when I heard that, the mask came off, and I'm going back to Jackie's story to talk about the emotion side of it from someone on the outside looking in. And so creating this beautiful resort. The decor is together. The food, we had a private chef. The food was great. I had the surf and turf, you name it. There was the meals there. But we got to talk about the abandonment. We have to talk about the issues, because you can go on vacation, unpack your bags while you're at the resorts, but you got to repack those bags and take those with you. So I wanted to unpack the trauma, unpack what you're really going through. To literally, we had a 6 on the side. I'm on this side. I see a 6. Coach is looking at a 9. But I want to debate him about his view. From his point of view, he sees a 9. From my point of view, I see a 6. So I had to deal with your reality versus perception, or your reality versus what the intent was. And so there was hard questions. There were for mothers to have to hear from their daughter perspective. There was hard responses that the mother saying that I was raped too, I was abandoned too, I didn't know no better, I did the best that I could. But to top it off, the last day, I did not allow no one to enter this room but Jackie and the prayer warriors. I took the gymnasium and it was completely white. I was raised up Primitive Baptist. We did the foot washing and everything. And so every mother needed to crown their daughter, pray over, anoint their head, clothe them with a cloth, which is recovering them, and wash their feet for the next destination that they're took. And that was the last night. And so, and that's the way the Lord had gave it to me. And so I started a course with my daughter, and affirmations were spoken over her life. I've never spoken nothing but positivity in my kids. But there were still some things that I needed to just reaffirm who they are today. And so from there, I believe that it was not just about the eye rolling. It was not just about the rebellious of Jackie with her mom, but it was the things that we thought that we did good with what we had. And hearing the stories, I think the mask really came and said I wasn't perfect.
I wasn't a struggle.
I wasn't the best. And I chose this man in my life for my own insecurities, because Jackie was a wife. And now you go from a wife into I am someone's girlfriend. And this is what I decided to choose in my life. For whatever reason, you made that choice. And so there was some embarrassment. That was an emotion. There was some disappointment. That was an emotion. But I believe that day that she set all that aside to know that I am who I am, and I did not deserve that. And so that's when the healing began.